Okay, so this is going to be our part 3 of our Pythagorean theorem. So we started talking about Pythagorean theorem. This is the trigonometry part, and so let's start writing the title. So this is a Pythagorean Pythagorean theorem part 3. Okay, this is our 3rd lesson on that. Now, before we dive right into this part 3, I just wanted to recap what we've been talking about. So far, Pythagorean theorem, we have a formula. We talked about the formula for Pythagorean theorem. So, can somebody would like to tell us what the formula for the Pythagorean theorem? Hypotenuse, yeah. What's the formula? A squared.
A squared.
Yes. Plus B squared equals C squared, right? So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now, we have a special name for this C. What's a special name for the C? You already said it earlier. Oh, hypotenuse. Not hippopotamus. Hypotenuse. Yeah. And what do we know about the hypotenuse?
Hypotenuse is 90 degrees.
Yeah, across
90 degrees.
Across 90 degrees, or up, like right across 90 degrees. And what else do we know about the hypotenuse?
Hypotenuse is less than hypotenuse. C, less than C. Is smaller than C.
Oh, right now we're on the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is the longest.
Longest.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's not the longer side, it's the longest of all, right? And that actually kind of helps us, because when you look at this, you're gonna have two short sides combining forces to be equal to the longest side, right? So A and B are the two short sides.
Yeah,
two
that's right.
short sides. Okay. Yeah. So that's the first piece. Now, for the past 2 lessons, we've been talking about Pythagorean theorem, and we were solving for always the C value, always a C, never the A or B, right? It's always a C. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to solve for A or the B. Okay?
So the number 11 working on?
Oh, yeah, just like number 11. Yeah, just like number 11. Okay, so here's an example. Let's do this one first. Draw a triangle. I'm going to draw a triangle here. I'm not going to give you the answer for that. That's your job later on. Okay, so I'm going to give you a triangle. I'm going to call this 13, and I'm going to call this 12. Okay, so I'm going to call this This length is 13 and this is 12. So we're going to look for the x. Okay, so what do we have in here? What are we solving? Are we solving for the hypotenuse or are we solving for the one of the short sides?
Short side.
Yeah, we're solving for the one of the short sides, right? So we're gonna solve. We are solving for the short side. Okay. So the formula we know is a squared plus b squared equals to c squared. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, what letter should I write this as? The 13 should be, is it the A, the B, or the C?
The A.
This is the hypotenuse. So that would be the C. So this is the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is the C. Yes. Yeah. So that's a C. And then this x, we're going to call it the A value. We don't know what that is. And then this other short side, we're going to call it B. Okay. So C is the 13, A is the x, B is the 12. So now we're going to do the substitution. We're going to do the replacing, okay? So what do I replace the A by? Yeah, what are we going to replace the A? Do we know the A value? Yeah, do we know what the A value? A is our x, right? X squared, we don't know because we don't know what it is. Plus, do we know what our B value is? What is the B? 12, yeah, so we're going to put 12. We're going to replace the B with 12. Equals C, do we know what the C value? 13. 13 squared. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure this out so that we can complete this triangle in here. Okay, so what do we know? So x squared plus, hey, we can calculate this, can we? That's the first step. 12 squared. What's 12 squared equal to? Yeah, use your calculator.
So calculating all this a bit.
No, just 12 squared for now. Just 12 squared.
12 squared
144?
equals.
Okay, equals. Okay, what's, we can calculate this one, right? 13 squared. Yeah, so what did you get for 13 squared?
Calculate that. 13 squared. Calculate it.
Did you get? Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that on a calculator here. So 13 squared. I got 169. Did you get 169? Yeah? Okay. You got 13 squared is 169. So everyone is here with me at this part. Okay, so let's see. Something that if I add 144 will give me 169. what is this amount that if I add 144 to it will give me 169? So how can we figure this out? We talked about this when we talked about solving equation. So if this is being added by 144,
Square root.
being added, what's the opposite of adding?
Subtracting.
Subtracting. So we're gonna subtract by 144. And I'm gonna subtract 144 on the other side to balance it out. Right?
Okay.
What we're trying to do is have the x alone. Right? Remember we talked about that before. We're gonna have the x all alone by itself. So if this number is being added by 144, we're gonna subtract by 144. So this is gone. So x squared is equal to 169 subtract 144. Yeah, so we can work this out and see what that is. 25. Okay, 25. Okay, now we're almost there. X is almost alone. What's the next thing that we gotta get rid of? We have to get rid of the squaring. Okay, how do we get rid of squaring?
Using a root.
Square root. Yeah.
Square root.
Yeah. So now to get rid of the squaring, you gotta do the square root. Square root. So square root of x squared, that gets rid of the square. So x. And square root of 25 is 5. Did everybody get 5?
Square root.
Yeah, go give it a try.
5.
Yeah, give it a try.
You're stuck. Take the square root. Square root of both sides.
So the answer for that is 5. So I'm gonna write down 5 in here. Okay? I'm gonna write down 5. And then, so I figured it out. This is 5. Now, I gotta ask myself, does that answer look reasonable to me? So I got,
Okay.
are these two short sides shorter than the hypotenuse? Is the hypotenuse the longest?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is 5, this is 12, hypotenuse is 13.
A and B are shorter.
Yeah, A and B are shorter.
Hypotenuse is
The longest.
so for this is
So?
x is
Oh.
5.
Oh, no. I'm not sure if that's the question.
Oh, so
Is that the same? Okay, this is only example 1. We're gonna do maybe 2 more examples here, just to make sure we get a home run here.
yeah.
Okay? Here we go. Example 2. See? So we're trying to make a right triangle in here. I'm gonna ask one of the students here to give me a number for the hypotenuse. Okay. Mel, can you give me a number for the hypotenuse between 15 and 30? Any number between 15 and 30. Just any number. Between 15 and 30. Any number first.
Plus minus. Let's check.
20? Okay. Yeah, let's make this 20. Good. Okay. Okay, Walter. Can you give me a number for one of the short side?
24.
24?
Yep.
We have to do shorter.
Shorter than 20?
Yeah, shorter to 20 because we
Okay.
already have the hypotenuse. We need
Okay,
the short side.
8.
8. Okay, sounds good to me. Okay? So we got 20 and then we got 8. Good? So, what do you call this side? This is called the longest side is called the hypotenuse. So what letter do we put this as?
X.
Is it A, B, or the C? C. Okay. Now we can call this our. We can call this our A. The missing one is our A, and then we can call the given one the B.
So that's X, right?
Okay. So in a right triangle, we're trying to solve for this shorter side. So, what's the formula again? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. What do I replace the A by? Do we know what the A value is? No? Okay, so we're just gonna put A squared plus, what do we replace the B? 8. So 8 squared equals, what do we replace the C? C is 20 squared. Okay, so now we have a setup. We're gonna try to figure out the A value. So A squared, we don't know, so we're just gonna put A squared for now. Plus, we gotta figure this out. What's 8 squared?
8.
8 squared. Yeah. What's 8 squared?
1 plus 4.5, that's 1.5.
64. Equals, what's 20 squared? 20 squared.
400.
400. Okay, so now what are we gonna do? We're gonna try to solve for A. Something plus 64 will give you 400. So something plus 64 will give us 400. So how do we figure this out? Okay, this value got added by 64. So we're gonna do the opposite, which is subtract. We're gonna subtract 64. Subtract 64. So this is gone. So adding 64 and subtracting 64, 0. So we're left with A squared equals, now what's 400 minus 64? We can work it out.
336. 56.
336. Is everybody okay here so far? So these ones, we gotta work this out. Yeah. Calculate. And then that will give you that answer.
That's where I'm getting kind of screwed up. I don't know how to,
Subtract.
how do I do it on the computer?
Calculator. Okay, just 400 minus 64.
400 minus, so I punch in minus
Minus, yeah.
64. $36.
336. Okay, what's the last bit? We have to get rid of the square. To get rid of the square is square root. Okay.
Square root.
Now we're going to take the square root of that number.
$18.4.
Okay, 18.4, so 336. I got 18.3. 18.3. It's 3.3.
Oh,
330.
oh yeah, 18.3. $18.33.
So I do there, and there, and I punch in 336.
Now let's see if that answer is reasonable, right? If that answer makes sense. Okay, so we said that this is 18.3.
18.33.
Yeah, you can put 18.33, that's okay. Is this answer reasonable? Right? Is the hypotenuse still the longest?
Yes.
Is the hypotenuse still the longest? Yeah, because this is the biggest number, so that means it's the longest set. We'll do one more and that's it. One more example.
Example. This is examples 1.
Oh, no. I make up
Oh,
the
that's-
example.
It's not yet.
No. That one you're going to do on your own.
Oh.
Okay. Example 3.
Example.
Let's make up another one.
Example 2.
Okay. Ernie, can you give me a number between 20 and 50 for hypotenuse for this length? 49, okay. And somebody want to give us a number or make up a number for one of the short side?
7.
7 sounds good. So, what do you call this side?
I don't know.
Hypotenuse. Which letter is that? A, B, or C?
C.
C. This missing side, we're gonna call it A. We don't know. Then this one would be B. Okay. So go ahead and write down the formula. Formula first. Okay, what's the formula that we're gonna use?
This is 7.
A squared plus now let's see what number do we replace A by?
2 squared.
That's a trick question, right? Nothing. It's just A squared because we don't know what that is, right?
A squared.
What number do we replace the B by?
B.
7. So 7 squared equals. What do we replace the C by? 49. So 49 squared. Very good. Okay. Now, go ahead and let's work out these numbers. Let's see what's 7 squared equal to? What's 49 equal to? $49 for this. And what's 49 squared?
Oh, C.
It's going to be probably a big number.
Equals to C. Equals to C. 240.
2,401, right? Okay. What do you think is the next step? We're going to try to solve for A. So to do that, we have to before square root. Subtraction. Okay, yeah. We see adding a 49, so what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 49 on each side. Subtract 49 on each side. So A squared. Okay, so the 49 is gone on this side. The A squared is left here. Now these ones we can work out, right? We can subtract these two numbers. Okay, what you get?
2352.
Yeah, 2,352. And is that our answer?
Nope.
No, what's our next? Square root, yes. You got it. Okay, square root. Okay, I got 48.5. If I round it off to 1 decimal place. I got 48.49 and I rounded it off to 1 decimal place. 48.5. So this is 48.5. Does that answer seem reasonable? Okay, to check if our answer is reasonable, we look at this. Is the hypotenuse still the longest? Yeah, right? This is 49, this is 48.5, and this is 7.
48, 49.
48.49. Yeah. Okay, so that concludes our part 3. So what you could do now is you could do the rest of the question. Questions 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Now, I just want to warn you here that some of these questions you're solving for hypotenuse, the longest side, and some of these questions you're solving for a shorter side. So you have to decide which one,
Longest.
yeah, which one's the longest, which one's the shortest. When do you add or when do you subtract? Yeah. Okay. Or
That's
what we could
scary.
do, that's scary. You can try it. You can try it on a weekend. If, let's say, on Monday we come back and we're working on this one, we can also spend time on that one as well.
It was a productive day.
It's a productive day. Fantastic.
Teacher?
Okay, have a wonderful weekend, and if you're a mom, happy Mother's Day. Right.
Teacher?
Okay.
I have-
See you next week.
I have to make a